Hey guys, so we're here with our special edition. We in the past did a tactics talk, but we figured we would do a reboot of the tactics talk just because we have a little bit more tournament experience now, and we can give you a traditional way to play a certain army in a tournament setting, or maybe a non-traditional way, just a non-competitive way for fun. So today we're going to be focusing on Gondor, which is happens to be my favorite army to play, and the army that I actually started off the game with. I started off with a 24 set of Ministry of Warriors and Aragorn. So we're going to be talking about them today. So, what are your thoughts?
So, our first set of talks did Ron, which was my army. So now we're doing his favorite army. So if you guys do like this content, please comment below, because we now have more armies we've played in this. And I actually do enjoy talking about the armies we play. So, but yeah, so Gondor, the traditional way, I think a lot of competitive players and a lot of kind of non-competitive people who kind of just want to go play and have fun, like pickup games. I think the theory is you take the cheap heroes, Faramir, Damrod, Madril, Denethor, Baragond, with Ministry of Warriors, some Rangers supporting them, maybe throw a few Fountain Court Guard in there.
Nothing crazy, yes. Like 4, some knights.
So like people like to have the theory you break someone before they break you. What we've learned is when you start versing armies, because Ministry of Warriors, they're generic, they have fight 3, you give them the fight 4 support, but Rangers have really low defense. And the low strength. So here's what normally happens when we've done that. We verse a strength 4 army like Isengard or Dwarves, where we need 6s to win them, but they need 5s to win us. And then we start talking about the captains getting in there. And Fury is another thing. Gondor doesn't have Fury, which it would be nice for them to have a Fury kind of thing, but at the same time, So Faramir, he's the strongest hero on that list. I know some people like making him the leader. Some people like making Denethor the leader because Denethor is in the back, kind of just holding an objective.
Yeah.
That's kind of the traditionalist way. That's the way you see like people who go to tournaments and win. That's how they do it. But Dan and myself, if I played Gondor, I would play with Boromir. But so Dan, talk about your little tactic you got.
Alright, so actually the way I like to play Gondor is the way that my army is set up in our battle reports we do. I like to take Aragorn. I like to have a lot of Fountain Guard. And what I used to do is I used to take Fountain Guard, Defense 7, have the Citadel Guard lend their spear support. So here's what used to happen. Here's what normally happens when you do that is what I've noticed is people start to target, especially when you have a lower defense spear support, they start to target that spear support and shoot them, and normally they're successful. I had one game where I had 6 Rangers in one warband with spear support behind my Minister of the Warriors, and he targeted my Rangers and killed all of them within the first 2 turns of shooting. So then they didn't have spear support. So my logic is okay, that's fine. I'm going to take a defense 7 shield wall in the back. So I have defense 6 guys in the front who can feint, with a fight 4 spear support in the back who have defense 7. And in my game against I had a couple games with this list, and the first game it was against Sam, that's the Reconnoiter game we did in the battle report.
Well, you did my Isengard.
And the Isengard as well. And they did pretty good. I mean, they like I will say this. Is in the game against Sam, Wyvern Sam, the first turn he killed a significant number of Minister of Warriors, and that is generally my experience when I take a horde of guys, is I lose a lot of numbers and I'm not able to output as much damage. That's my personal experience, and it happens all the time when I do that. So I decided to take my favorite character, Aragorn, who was anything on a 4-up, and he is my main damage output with a shield wall kind of supporting him. So here's my theory on that, is I have Aragorn, and he generally does carry the game in some ways, but in both games I had, the captain was my kind of second hero, and I wasn't able to rely on him as much either, because He died both games. He wasn't. He didn't have a higher fight. He didn't have a lot of might, a lot of fate, and he wasn't able to contend with some of the other cheaper heroes. So my redux of that list, I like to edit my list as I go and see what the flaws are. I took Faramir upgraded with a heavy armor and a shield, and he lends a higher fight than the captain. He has one more might than the captain, one more will, and one more fate. So he actually is a pretty good, I guess, counterbalance to Aragorn, where if Aragorn happens to get transfixed for a turn, that I still have a form of a damage output in Faramir.
So, aside from the army leadership now, we've also learned. So here are a few other kind of armies we've seen in the past. Like when we used to play in Colorado, I know Rob, he had like a list. He had Boromir with the banner. Okay, so Boromir with the banner is always good. He had Osgiliath vets instead of warriors because then they become fight 4. But that is back. This was back before the Hobbit, where your fight 4 support. So yeah, okay, back then that was good. Now it's still pretty good. Really, you can have fight 5 with Faramir and the banner or Boromir. You can have fight 5 Osgiliath vets, which is always nice. Especially if you go to a tournament, you're gonna have to expect to fight elves or something with a higher fight. I mean, a lot of people like to take Corsairs, Reavers, and all that. So,
here's my experience with Boromir. Is I used to take him with a banner all the time, but now I would actually probably take him with a not the banner, take him mounted with a shield and a lance, just because
lower defense. Yeah. And here's how it would work. Boromir has a lower defense. If someone just starts wanting to shoot him with like Legolas as instant shot or crossbows or whatever, because he's going to be out in the open. Your list doesn't have a lot of shooting, but I mean, in our theory, Rangers, if you take them to support, you got free bows. But I mean, other than that, we've never seen that much success, personally, in bow fire from Gondor.
No.
Now I'm not saying that it can't be true. It can't happen. But I personally have never seen it. So
straight 2 bows. I mean, they pretty much bounce off armor, and I've had enough games where I see that happen a lot, especially when I'm versing another Gondor player. The straight 2 bows could just bounce off the armor,
and then when you start having to pay for Citadel Guard,
it's very expensive.
It gets kind of expensive. So
my theory is with Gondor, I like to play a very aggressively close combat army, so I don't really invest a lot of points in a archery unit. I just have the 3 Citadel Guard with Baragon, and my logic there is to have Baragon and those guys hold objectives in the back or follow the objectives of the game while my shield wall is advancing forward, and I have my bases covered, and I also have bow fire if I do need it to kind of take out a guy or whatever. And that's been a successful, I would say, each game I've had, they have made up their points because I don't have a lot of points invested in them. So
another thing to interject is buying. If you were to buy, I've always kind of thought Gondor Easterlands would be a fun army for me. I've always played a Rohan, which is a cavalry army, where I played elves. But, sometimes I've kind of thought about playing Gondor, because I like having that kind of knight kind of thing. But, so, if you were to buy a Gondor army, I think, generally, a lot of people who collect them just kind of buy a little bit of everything. But if you were just to say, I want to get like 300, 400 points right off the bat, just have a little skirmish game, I do think Faramir, Damrod, Madril, because they all come in 2-packs anyway. When you buy them, they're like, you get 2. So they still have a lot of the models are up in print still. So I think Gondor's a good army for someone kind of getting into the game because they're familiar. Yep. They do have a lot of options.
You can play them a lot of different ways.
And I mean, like the way he's been the most successful is with Aragorn, but Aragorn's his favorite character, and he's been kind of going with Aragorn, Elisar.
I think most people would agree that Aragorn is not a competitive piece.
He's overpriced.
He's overpriced, but I take him anyway because
fair character.
So
Elisar, to refresh everyone, he has the Anduril, which runs a model on a 4-up, which is a really good rule.
And that's actually helped tremendously against some of the newer models that have come out with the Defense 8. Yep. The
Iron Hills
Warriors, and it also helped with Vault Warden teams in the past.
Yep.
Other heroes that have Iron Defense.
The other day.
Yep.
So also, so then he has the reoccurring might.
Yep.
Now that's two things about Gondor is Boromir and Aragorn both have a really good supply of might. The reoccurring, you could potentially have more than Boromir if the game lasts 6 turns, which it could. So that's two things I like about them. And Gondor does have the cheap heroes, so if you take an expensive hero, you can take the cheap heroes and still have a decent model count. And that's why in a way, I think that's how they were designed. I mean, like I said, again, personally, I've never seen the Horde system of Gondor actually do good. I'm not saying it isn't good or anything.
No, I think in tournaments in the past, those types of armies actually have done very well.
Yeah, but
I've tried it though, and I was not successful.
But then, like, I go look now. Well, you got a new army, Lake Town, who's a Horde men army, and I think they're better because you get more models. You get your guys get more buffed now. Like the heroes kind of buff more, and you can fit like Gandalf, the Grey, and can lead a warband and Beorn. I've seen people throwing Beorn.
Bigger some monsters in there. And stuff.
So if you're in a Horde army, I think Lake Town is the Horde man army now. Where I think Gondor is a little bit in between now. Like when I look at Gondor, you can have like 40 models in a 700-point game. Lake Town can have more. You know what I'm saying? So to me, we're just going to see what they do with Gondor in the future, like with the next book that comes out. But I'm excited for them because they're like, to me, they're like the poster boy of the good, like, because you got Arnor, you got the Fiefdoms. They're both pretty much sub Gondor.
Yeah. Then
you got Gondor, you got Numenor. So really, those 4 armies, in my opinion, are Gondor in essence. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with Gondor because they're just the men. I think here's what I'm hoping we'll see. They're either gonna have to give Minister of Warriors the higher defense, give them maybe a little bit, give LSR cheaper, make LSR cheaper. I'd say make Boromir. I don't know, because he already is cheap. I'd say maybe make the banner cheaper.
Yeah, the
banner cheaper.
Banner would be cheaper.
25-point banner or something like that. Make it 25 points or
30 points.
30 points something.
Yeah, to justify the...
Yeah. But, like, one of the Battle of 5 Army models, he had a really cheap, like Durin's Axe, for instance, for the old Ballin profile. It's only 20 points or 10 points or something. That's a really good rule. So, but yeah, no. So
let's talk about how to build a Gondor army.
Yeah.
So I think the core would be the Minister of Warriors. They're a cheap unit, 7 points base, 1 point for a shield, and an additional point for a spear. I personally don't like taking Minister of Warriors with spears because I like other spear support, as we'll go into later. So I like to take just generic Minister of Warriors as a front and center cheap unit to have as just a front vanguard in my shield wall. Because they're cheap, they can feint. They have a defense 6 if you upgrade them to shield, which I would always recommend. Then you have several options for a spear support if you wanted to go the route of, okay, I want to build a more shooting army. Well, then you can take rangers with spears, who all have bows, so you could sit back a couple turns and shoot if you need to, and have that defense 6 there in case you need it. I will warn you, though, is I've had people shoot past my Minister with Warriors, and they took in the way checks, but generally they get through and kill the Rangers with a they kill the Rangers because of their lower defense, which they are only defense 4, unfortunately. So that is something to be careful about.
It's like Uruk-hai and
strength 4. Yep, strength 4 bows are gonna need force to wound them, which is low. Yeah, really low for the wounds chart in the Lord of the Rings system, but you can do that. You can take the cheaper heroes. Faramir is always good. I would always recommend taking Faramir. If you wanted to build
Syrian's good.
Syrian's good. If you wanted to build a competitive Gondor, I would take Faramir. And really learn how to play. I would probably take Faramir and really try and build a lot of models. Because I think if you have a bigger army, then your opponent is actually, you can make
more errors.
Yeah. Which is nice.
Start taking Aragorn. You can take him right off the bat if you just start playing Gondor. If you're really new into the game, you can start playing Aragorn. He's your favorite character right off the bat anyway. But I mean, if you kind of want to have a learning curve and just go in it, I think kind of hoarding them.
Yeah.
So what do you think about Minister of Knights? Real quick, we'll do this.
I like Knights. I like Knights. I generally like to take Knights in my army. Unfortunately, for 700 points, which is what we're practicing for, I can't field a lot in my army, so I only have one. I generally like to take 5 or 6. I have taken 7 before.
Really help.
The lances are really good, and I like to go around a flank. The only drawback on them is fight 3. So with the new rules, you can spear support with them. So you could take them, hit a flank, give some spear support from your shield wall, and they generally do really good.
Yeah.
My knights have generally done really well. Another thing is you can go and take positions on the board. Take overwhelm a objective somewhere in a corner. So there's a lot you can do. I mean, you can. I like to take Baragon. The reason I take Baragon to hold objectives is because he has bodyguards, so he will not flee. And also the Citadel Guard have bodyguards, so they won't flee. So I have
As long as Aragorn's on.
yeah, as long as whoever your general is.
Yeah.
So that is my logic: is to have those guys sit in the back, have cavalry go around, maybe have board control, and have a sturdy shield wall to help push my advancement.
Well, guys, this is kind of the quick tactics talk, but I hope you enjoy it. If you guys want to see more of these, like we could do it for Isengard Elves armies that we're familiar with and play, then comment below. And also soon I'm gonna probably post a video talking about Champions of Middle Earth Season 2. If you guys want in on that, you're gonna have to comment. I'm gonna maybe put a list of models that we like or that we have. So you guys are just going to check out, hopefully within the next few days.
Just comment below who you want to see for champions.
Yeah. So comment in this video below too, if you like this video. I mean, because the last one I don't think got a huge amount of likes and stuff, but we like doing it. So just comment below.
Yeah, we really want to help bring perspective, especially if you're unsure about an army you want to start. I know with certain armies, I saw a certain way to play them, and I was like, okay, that's a really cool way. Like with my Gildor and Glorian list, it's on the channel. I'm not really a Wood Elf fan, but I thought it'd be very interesting to play 8-inch moving army and have a really fast-paced moving army. So I saw that as a way to go, and if you like, okay, well, I like Gondor, but I would like to play a more elite army, we like to bring perspective on that. So yes, I've done good in the past with them, and I think if you play very smart, you could do good as well. Although if you wanted to play a traditional gun army, you have that option as well. So I think Gondor is
it's a versatile
army, and it's fun to play. I enjoy playing them. They're my favorite. So,
alright, guys. Well, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and happy wargaming.